You ready?
Hello.
Good evening. I'd like to call the Quabbin Regional School Committee meeting to order. First item of business tonight will be the statement regarding recording. Good evening. This meeting will be recorded and will be posted to YouTube and other social media platforms. By participating in this meeting, you understand that the recording will contain your video stream or your audio stream, including images of yourself or anyone in the room with you. If you choose to enable your video or audio device during the meeting, as well as anything or anyone else that may be in the background could be recorded. The recording could include any opinions you contribute and anything you say about yourself. On occasion, chat within the meeting could also be captured in the meeting recording. Therefore, anyone attending the recorded meeting may have aspects of their personal data recorded if they actively participate or not. Thank you, Jeff. We have roll call, please. Dr. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Marsh?
Yes.
Mr. Brophy?
Yes.
Mr. Deschamps?
Yes.
Mr. Bolannon, Ms. Kelly, Ms. Garvey are all on vacation. Mrs. Chamberlain? Here. Ms. Muck?
Yes.
Mr. Wiggler?
Yes.
Mrs. Thompson's on vacation. Mr. Nutter?
Here.
Ms. LaGrange? Here. Okay. Thank you. If it's okay with my colleagues, I'd like to see if we could take a couple of items out of order since some of our members have been great to join us on Zoom while they had other commitments tonight. I'd like to go into new business and take the FY Regional Transportation Reimbursement Transfer out of order, as well as the approval of the school year 25-26 NJROTC field trip and the school improvement plans and student handbook changes. For that,
Yes, that's
All
fine.
right.
I move the NJROTC.
can we start with the transportation first, please?
Madam Chairman, whatever you would like to do.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve $82,780 from FY 25 regional transportation reimbursement to be placed into the Quabbin Regional School District Transportation Stabilization Account, where the monies will remain until expended and may be used only for transportation.
Thank you. Any discussion? Comments? No. Seeing and hearing none, roll call, please. Dr. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Marsh?
Yes.
Mr. Brophy?
Yes.
Mr. Deschamps?
Yes.
Ms. Chamberlain? Yes. Ms. Mock?
Yes.
Mr. Wiggler?
Yes.
Mr. Nutter?
Yes.
Ms. LaRange?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, now the second item would be.
What we approve the NJROTC field trip with the usual proviso.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing and hearing none, roll call, please. One moment, please. Okay. Dr. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Marsh?
Yes.
Mr. Brophy?
Yes.
Mr. Deschamps?
Yes.
Mrs. Chamberlain? Yes. Ms. Mock?
Yes.
Mr. Wiggler?
Yes.
Mr. Nutter?
Yes.
Ms. LaRange?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, the next item would be our school improvement plans. And I'd like to turn that over to the superintendent.
Okay, great. So the school improvement plans are located in the drive. And so what we're going to do for you is just highlight any adjustments. So our school improvement plans run through the end of this year. And as we build a new strategic plan, we'll also update our school improvement plans to match those. But each year with school improvement councils, the administrators review our data and make some adjustments to their school improvement plans. So I am happy to highlight what some of those changes are, or I'm just going to toss it out to any of our administrators who feel like they would be happy to capture those for their team. It's totally fine. If not, I'll roll with it. I guess that's a no.
Looks like it's here.
So we did change some language and some of this is consistent across both handbooks, just so you know. We added some stronger language or maybe more positive language around family vacations to our elementary handbook. Just that we believe school attendance matters and we discourage families from taking vacations while school is in session. We added some electronic device language to our elementary handbooks. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were saying.
I thought you talked
nope.
school improvement plans now.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, you're right.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh,
I'm not
my
losing my
goodness.
mind.
You're
Okay,
not.
Thank you.
Let me go to our school improvement plans. So sorry. We'll start with the middle high school. So some of the adjustments they've made, and you're going to hear this common theme between elementary and middle high school, is that during our summit, where our administrators work over the summit, they developed a new responsive protocol for school attendance. So one of the things that all of our schools are going to do is put that into effect so that we are communicating more often, more frequently, and more positively with our families to see if we can get our kids into school more often. The second area that they focused on at the elementary level is around PBIS. You heard a lot of that last year from our elementary administrators, and you heard that from our students when they came to the school committee meetings. They're going to go a level deeper with their PBIS, and they're really going to start to look at their data and address concerns for students who may not be fully responding to what's been in place so far. And the third area is around academic interventions and increasing academics. So we do data meetings with our elementary teachers every 6 to 8 weeks, and the administrators have revised some of the data intervention meeting protocol and what's going to happen in there. And so now I'll ask the elementary administrators if there's anything I missed in their school improvement plans that they want to speak to. Oh, you're all so quiet tonight. Look at you. Look at you. All right, thank you so much. Yes, you have a question, Dr. Allen?
Just a comment. Which once upon a time, I think was very pertinent and made sense. I don't know if it does anymore. When John Sorelli was principal of Ruggles Lane, he used to take my son out every now and again. We were going to Europe or something like that. And he said, my rule of thumb is if I would want every child in the school to miss a day or more of school for that activity, then I'll approve it. I thought that was a very interesting way of looking at that particular issue.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think that we don't want to discourage our families from having incredible opportunities, right? Like visiting Europe and things like that. I think what we're finding is that it feels a little, I don't know what the word I want to use exactly, not easier, but like more acceptable to just, take your children for a long weekend, so on and so forth. And I think we're really just trying to stress the fact that school does matter. And if the kids miss a day of school, they're missing 6.5 hours of instruction. And if they miss 10 days of school, they've missed 60 hours, well, plus of instruction. And so that's really something that we're trying to get across to our parents, especially when I'm sure you're all reading in the news that our literacy rates are down and different things like that. And so last year, the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education had a big push on this idea that your attendance matters, you matter, having you in school. And this is just something that we're still continuing to work on because we did see those attendance rates, absentee rates rise after COVID.
Well, it seemed like we're okay, but we're not up where we would expect to be with a district such as ours.
Yes, exactly, Dr. Allen. That's very true. Yep. So on the, do you want to vote the elementary school improvement plans first,
We
maybe?
need separate votes, right?
Probably.
Yeah.
So, 'cause,
Any other discussion? Any other questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Dr. Allen,
Yes.
Mr. Marsh,
Yes.
Mr. Brophy has left. Mr. Deschamps,
Yes.
Mrs. Chamberlain,
Yes.
Ms. Muck,
Yes.
Mr. Wiggler,
Yes.
Mr. Nutter,
Yes.
Ms. LaRange.
Yes.
And now, onto our student handbook changes.
Well, I'll talk about the middle high school plan. Did I talk about that or did I talk about their handbook? I don't think I did. Sorry. So I think the tweaks and revisions, I'm very happy to report on the middle high school plan. There are a lot of things that they have accomplished at this point that have been on their school improvement plan over the years. One of those being having an effective house structure, different things like that, implementation of surveys. So they have a lot of things that they have kind of checked off and completed. And the tweaks and adjustments that they made, one thing that I'm really looking forward to hearing more about is that they have a group of middle school teachers. They're calling them the B team. I assume that stands for Blue House Team. And they're really working on this idea of what we've done at the elementary school with the positive language and common expectations and how to bring that up to middle school. So they've formed a team. They're going to pilot some strategies for common expectations for their students. And the team seems quite excited about it. So we'll look forward to hearing student reports on that this year. You've heard us talk about our professional learning communities. That's last year we implemented those professional learning communities. I'll also talk about that in my superintendent evaluation. This year, they're going to add a protocol for looking at student work and trying to close the gap for academic achievement and increase student growth.
That would be a very good topic for review and reform on one of those meetings.
Super. We can definitely
If you
do
would,
that.
please.
Yeah. And then the last thing is in common with the elementary school improvement plans, they have also implemented the new attendance protocols. The team worked on that together as a elementary through secondary process. Yes.
Yeah, I might have, maybe I should have this. No, whenever I see somebody who has children, yesterday, I always say, yeah. One of our concerns about which ties into this is, these parents took their child out of school for a week. And, I guess you're a little confused as to why on the request they weren't given homework or assignment for the week. It just didn't happen, and they were kind of surprised because they felt they had to take a child out for some reason. They also felt that child couldn't do the work. Just
No, I love that you asked that because we spent a lot of time going through our handbooks this year. And so in our handbook, it states really clearly that if you're taking your child out for a vacation, that work will not be provided ahead of time and that it will be given to the child upon their return. And sometimes there's a lot of reasons why that happens because teachers change lesson plans, so on and so forth. So my guess is that's exactly why it happened. And if someone says that to you, you can sort of just say, you know, that actually is outlaid in the student handbook for families. Yeah. So did we take a vote on middle high school?
So move.
Question? Roll call, please.
Dr. Allen,
Yes.
Mr. Marsh,
Yes.
Mr. Deschamps.
Yes.
Mrs. Chamberlain,
Yes.
Ms. Muck,
Yes.
Mr. Wiggler,
yes.
Mr. Nutter,
Yes.
Ms. LaRange.
Yes.
And onto the student handbook changes, where we begin.
Okay, sorry about that.
I'm gonna pull the changes up on the screen.
Sure, that'd be great. So I
Who
talked
you doing
about
first?
elementary. I talked about the attendance for elementary. We also talked about electronic devices, that they need to be off and away. And we added in here the language around Mass General Law, Chapter 272, subsection 99, about not being able to photograph, record, stream, or capture images or sounds. And then the last piece is around curriculum accommodations. This is exactly the same as what is in the middle high school handbook, and it's a little bit of a big deal. So there was a court case at the end of the school year, Mohammed, and basically it was challenging that if there are curriculum or activities in a school that go against a family's religious beliefs, that they have the opportunity to opt out of whatever that learning is. So this was upheld. And the language that you see in front of you is very basic, but what has to happen is a little bit different. So this language comes from MASs and MASC. And of course, it is very much with what we believe. It says in accordance with Mass Regulation 603 CMR 26.051, the Quabbin Regional School District, through its curricular materials, encourages respect for the human and civil rights of all individuals, regardless of race, color, sex, gender identity, religion, national origin, or sexual orientation. In accordance with district guidelines, families may request information from the building principal on available accommodations related to curriculum content. So I want to say a couple things about this. The case was really based on content that was LGBTQ plus content. What our legal counsel has said to us is it's really important that the building principal be the one to handle any of these requests so that teachers are not overwhelmed with families challenging and different things like that. Also, as a proactive measure, they are recommending that we post any of our and all of our curriculum and materials somewhere where parents can access it. We don't have to separate and say, hey, pay attention to this book. We just need to make it available. So we've reached out to our literacy program, as a lot of other school districts across the United States have. They're working on something that we can kind of post up. And we will give our teachers some time to be able to create book lists or content. If they have their topics in their syllabus already, that is perfectly acceptable. We just need to put them on the website where parents can access them if they're looking for information. It does not mean, I want to be clear about this, that we're taking books out of our libraries, that we're taking books off teacher shelves. That is not what this is about. It is just this idea of if someone requests an accommodation, then we have to say, does this, content perhaps interfere with their religious beliefs? If so, legal counsel has basically said to us, and we will honor that. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out, because it happened at the tail end of the year when school really went, we closed for summer. So our lawyer is thinking it might spike up pretty quickly at the start of the year. But we have a plan, and we will take a careful, not dramatic approach, but we will get it done in a timely manner, if that makes sense. Any questions? Yeah, Dr. Allen?
Yeah, a related issue that they fuss about sometimes is this bathroom thing. I was born at this, but I believe I'm with that, so I should go into that. Do we have anything on that?
We do. We have bathrooms that are gender neutral for our students, so they can access
Okay,
those.
I haven't seen them. Where are they?
Right next to the media center in the middle high school there's one right there.
Because they,
Where's the gym?
Yeah.
By the.
When you go to
great.
the auditorium to see Shrek
Yeah.
in the fall, you'll pass right by it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, on the other side of the hall.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I used that one.
Yep.
Last time, because I always went by the one by the office.
Mhm.
Any
Well
other
done.
questions?
Any other questions on that?
Yes, was that communicated out to parents in regards of the bathroom for like the neutral?
It's been-
neutral? It's been
It's
there.
been in place for years.
Okay.
Yes, and at that time it absolutely was, yes. So I think we should probably vote the
Approval.
elementary handbook.
This is, middle high school.
Any questions, comments? Roll call, please.
Dr. Allen,
Yes.
Mr. Marsh,
Yes.
Mr. Deschamps,
Yes.
Mrs. Chamberlain,
Yes.
Ms. Mock,
yes,
Mr. Wiggler,
Yes.
Mr. Nutter,
Yes.
Ms. LaRange.
One thing I should mention, because I feel like I didn't, every year we submit our handbooks to our legal counsel, just so you know that, because they are the most up to date on any changes on the laws. So a lot of what you're going to see, especially in the middle high school handbook, is just additions or tweaking based on changes to the law. So the first thing is around bullying. So bullying now calls out that it's not just students that could be considered to be bullies, but it is also staff, and it calls out educators, administrators, nurse, cafeteria work, custodian, so on and so forth. On page 10, we have a promotion retention policy. We added that the principal is the one who exercises the final decision-making authority on whether a student is retained or promoted. The next section is our competency determination. We did that partway through the year last year. Remember when MCAS was voted out as competency determination? So that language is the same. However, I do want to give you a heads up because this will have to go to policy review and reform. We have to revise our competency determination because the state has made some changes to that policy. So we will do that before October 31st. We will need to get that to review and reform. And then the curriculum accommodations is the same language I just spoke about on the elementary version. We did add on to bus misconduct that disciplinary action could lead up to suspension or expulsion. Electronic devices, we added not just that they were not allowed on the school bus, but also on school grounds. Again, that language about you cannot record. And then in our threat policy, again, if there is a threat that it could lead to potential expulsion, that wasn't in there before. Oh, sorry.
An electronic device. They're not allowed on the bus and I thought that they could have them, but they just had to put them in a pouch when they went into class.
No, I'm sorry. I should have clarified that. And I might have said it incorrectly. It's that they cannot videotape, record, or stream on school grounds or on a bus.
And second question I was wondering about. I believe we seem relatively comfortable with the idea that the kids are okay with their phones if they put them in the pouch, and they seem to be doing that. If the state says, oh, you have to, you must, you know, your firstborn child's gonna be taken away to Alaska or something, you don't, do we have to pay any attention to that kind of baloney?
If Desi puts it in, yes, big law.
I think we talked about this last time.
We did.
All Structures were abiding by the same.
Yes.
Yes.
So the bottom line is, I think it'd be advisable to go with the state policy.
Oh, for sure. We will have to. We've actually had some conversations around this already. So in our middle school, our policy is that students basically keep their cell phones in their backpack. They are off, they are away. that is what it is. At the high school, the teachers basically collect the devices and put them in pouches or boxes, so on and so forth. I will just share this, that when we did our feedback session, as we were searching for a middle high school administrator, the teachers expressed that they really wanted to make sure that everybody was abiding by the same policy, because it becomes hard to implement if it feels like your neighbor
So did
is
we.
right, not.
So did we. That's why
yeah.
I got so upset. that
So the students, and we've heard from the students that they feel it's been super effective for them. So we are going with the same policy at the start of this year. Should the governor and, come out with a law around this, we will absolutely abide by that policy. I will tell you, I think it'll be interesting. We sort of joke about this a little bit, but we don't believe the state of Massachusetts is going to pay for pouches for all of our kids to lock their cell phones away. So I have a feeling that schools will have some autonomy with it, but that everyone will have to have a cell phone policy that then gets communicated and approved by DESI. So more to come on that, but I think it could happen sooner than later. We're ready. Yep, and just some video monitoring language. Any questions on the high school handbook changes?
Move approval.
Okay.
Any other comments, questions? Roll call, Jess, please.
Dr. Allen,
Yes.
Mr. Marsh,
Yes.
Mr. Deschamps.
Yes.
Mrs. Chamberlain,
Yes.
Ms. Muck,
Yes.
Mr. Wiggler,
Yes.
Mr. Nutter,
Yes.
Ms. LaRange.
Yes. Thank you. All right, now we'll go back to the original agenda in order. Thank you for taking these items out of order. Appreciate it. We missed.
Actually,
Agenda.
doesn't matter.
Second?
That's right.
Dr. Ellen moved it.
Okay.
Dave seconded. Any questions, discussions, changes, comments? Seeing and hearing none, roll call, please.
Give me just one quick second. I didn't have enough pages. Okay. Dr. Allen,
Yes.
Mr. Marsh,
Yes.
Mr. Deschamps.
Yes.
Mrs. Chamberlain,
Yes.
Ms. Muck,
Yes.
Mr. Wiggler,
Yes.
Mr. Nutter,
Yes.
Ms. LaRange.
Yes.
Okay.
Alicia, if you needed to sign off now, we're all set with any further 2/3 vote. We really appreciate that you've helped us tonight.
Oh, you're welcome.
You're welcome to stay though if you'd like. All right, moving on. We don't have Student Advisory Council tonight, so we'll move on to administrative reports, Superintendent of Schools.
So on my report, there are a few pictures from things that have been happening over the summer, but it really is just a small snapshot. We ran some STEM early literacy camps over at Ruggles Lane. Those are the two bookend photos, and the middle photo is two of our students who were volunteering at National Night Out for a local church serving popcorn. And so again, I have all of the events and happenings sort of under our goals. So under our communication goal, that National Night Out, I don't know if any of you had the opportunity to attend, but it's really an awesome night. All of our emergency services come, and Neeker Jenkins and Mary Whitelaw do a tremendous amount of work to put that night on. So I just want to give them a huge shout out. Our drama club has landed on the musical Shrek for the fall, so I'm hoping you're all going to be looking forward to that. We have our kindergarten orientations coming up with a bus ride, our 6th grade open house. We also had a very very successful summer feeding program. I want to give a huge shout out and thanks to Olivia Godin, who's our food nutrition director, and her staff. So her staff worked over the summer. Honestly, they had so much fun. If you went over there, it didn't feel like they were working, right, Stacy? But on some days they fed over 100 children. So we
That's
were
great.
it was just so awesome. And they also delivered meals to Ruggles Lane so that students in our programs and students in the CAPS programs could have free meals over the summer. So that was a really, really great undertaking. I think she is actually looking forward to doing it again next year, which is awesome. What's that?
Is it done?
It is, it just finished, yes, yeah. She was able to add an extra week, but it did just finish. Just an update on the regional agreement. It is back with DESI. We're still waiting for feedback. Our administrative summit, I talked about the goals. You'll see those in school improvement plans. You will also see them when I share the district goals in September with you. And then our differentiated learning opportunities. We held our credit recovery at the middle high school. Shelley's going to talk more about that. We held our STEM camp. We have our champions program going on. We are launching for sure 100% our language-based classroom in OCAM, starting with 3rd and 4th graders. We have students now assigned to those classrooms after working with our parents. Our alternative pathway program is going to start over at New Braintree. Jill Langlois and our new pathway teacher and social worker have been interviewing students because they want to make sure that these students who are more than 2 years behind in credits have the desire to graduate and the wherewithal to make it through this program. So far they've accepted 10 students into the program after interviewing maybe 14. They think they'll probably land on 12 to start the program. Their new furniture came in today. It's very, very exciting. And the other thing I just want to mention briefly, I don't know if this is the place to mention it, but I'm going to. Last night, Mr. Brophy, Deb, Miss Rigney, we all went to North Brookfield. So I received an invitation, I don't know, a few weeks ago from North Brookfield. It was very vague, but it was, we are thinking about a possible tuition agreement with another school district. Would Quabbin be interested? I responded, we're always interested to talk about, possible collaboration. And so they said, can you come bring a presentation last night? So I did. And, it was really a really brief, skim of what Quabbin has to offer. But there was in the room, they have a task force probably of about 8 people. I would say it's school committee members, some folks from the town. And then I invited a few students to come and parents. So they came with us as well. We did basically an overview of Quabbin without overwhelming them. So the message that I wanted to send to them was they're not that different than really what Quabbin's all about. We have small communities that we draw into our middle high school. They're really looking for a tuition agreement just for either the high school or middle high school. So it really wouldn't be an elementary thing. It's not like a regional agreement, it's just an agreement that we agree to accept their students for a certain cost. Prior to meeting with them, I reached out to DESI and I said, can I get some information about what a tuition agreement is? And they said, we'd love to help you, but there's really not a lot of information out there. And that basically, the commissioner has to approve it. But there's no template, there's no model, there's no must-dos. So then I asked them for samples. They were able to provide me with 2. Most recently, Mahar entered a tuition agreement with Warwick, a very small community. And I spoke to the superintendent there about the process and some of the things they had in place. So I felt like before we were going to really get to that level, I wanted just to see if they thought Quabbin could be a partner for them. So I'm waiting to hear back. from them. I think it was a positive experience. I mean, it's always a positive experience for us to do something like that because it's actually a really great reminder of all the things that are special and unique about Quabbin. And it's always fun to share that, right? But yeah, I'll let you know as soon as I hear more. In the meantime, I did reach back out. I thanked them for having us. I asked them if they needed any more documents, so on and so forth. And then I pushed a little on, could you give me some dates that you would want this, information by? Before we left, the one question that they asked was one of the gentlemen in the audience, or I think he's on the task force, said, I realize this is probably not a fair question, but when do you think you could tell us how much it would cost? And I sort of chuckled a little bit because I said, we have to do that together. They have information I don't have. I don't know what their number of students is. I don't know what the number of students with disabilities are currently in out-of-district placements are, things like that. So we would have to work on that together. But to give you a sense of their timeline, they really are looking to potentially have their students in another school district by September 1 of next year, which means that they need to sort of figure out which district they're going with pretty quickly. And honestly, for us, it would definitely impact our budget planning, which we start in November, December. So it's going to be a very quick turnaround.
I think you mentioned they were gonna, they wanted to make a recommendation to their school committee by October.
Yes.
So
Right.
hopefully we'll hear more by then, but I will tell you, Colleen did a fantastic job. It was a little awkward when we walked in because it was the senior center and they were in a meeting. And we didn't know what to expect, or Colleen didn't, but she did a great job. I mean, who better to talk about Quabbin than her with her energy? And they didn't really ask many questions. So finally she warmed them up at the end and they started asking more questions. So I think maybe years ago, there was some hard feelings about a partnership like 30 years ago or something. So I think they were surprised that I think Colleen, really kind of related that we are all the same small communities and a number of your kids come here anyway, and we're open to making different things work. And if this doesn't work, maybe we could try, regionalizing with something else. So she did a great job.
That history you were talking about. Mid-1980s, New Braintree kids went to North Brookfield. Somebody at a town meeting, you remember probably.
I do, my husband went, yeah.
Okay, so at a town meeting in New Braintree said, is that the best we can do? So they went to Quabog, North Brookfield, and Quabbin and said, what do you do for us? Will you take our kids? How much? And all three of us put in a bid. I think we were the highest, maybe $1,300. One was 11, one whatever. And they chose Quabbin. And there was a Norman, who was that Norman guy?
Norman Benoit, probably.
Norman Benoit, exactly. Came to every one of our school committee meetings and said, you shouldn't take New Braintree. You should turn them down. You put a bid in, for Christ's sakes. Anyway, he was reasonably annoying as a human being, but he kind of went away after a while.
God rest his soul.
Yes. So the New Braintree kids came here. North Brookfield, their high school it's a disaster. There's maybe 20, 25 kids at the most in a class. And I don't mean 3 classes of 9th grade. I mean the whole 9th grade, whole 10th grade, the whole whatever. The kids who I think are interested in academics, whose parents are interested in academics, who want to get an education, already come here. So I don't know how much we want the rest of them. Unless there's a particular reason that I don't know. I'm assuming they could come here, but that's, so we only get 5,000 a kid. So it would have to be a whole lot. I think we're about, what? 16,000 a kid?
Our average per pupil spending is about 19,000.
Okay, so it's 19 now.
Yeah.
So if they were to tuition in,
Well, we'd have to figure that, but I want to say a couple things. I was a principal in West Brookfield for a long time, so I was right neighboring with North Brookfield. I think they've done a lot to really try and hang on to their program, and I just think it's important that we acknowledge that. As you know, and we know in this district, it is not an easy decision to close a school. So, you know, that's what they've been really dealing with. And we have to acknowledge that should they desire a tuition agreement with us, that, you know, it's not just about us taking them on, but it's really about being a welcoming environment and saying, how can we support these kids as our own? Because they become our own kids and they're forward planning, and I give them credit for that. Maybe it took a little longer than, you know, anticipated, but while they might be graduating on only 25 students now, their elementary school is doing very well. And they have, you know, robust classes in the elementary school. And they're just thinking, why do we keep having this pattern as they come up? Is there a way to change this so our kids can stay together and, you know, we can have a mutually beneficial relationship. Some of the things that I put out there last night, like even if they don't want to talk tuition agreement, I talked a lot about our special ed programs. We really have some amazing special education programs. The cost of collaboratives has increased so much, never mind out of district placements. And because everyone has less access to students because of the declining school age population, we have some space in those programs. That might be something that they say, hey, we'll partner with you on this. This helps us, right? So it could be something as small as that, or it could be something where we think about a tuition agreement, but we would have to obviously carefully look at those numbers and say, you know, is this beneficial to both of us?
I go back to when we had the Collins group in here and about this downward spiral. You have a
death spiral.
Like you have a standalone like North Brookfield that doesn't have a big tax base. And what happens, especially at the high school level, the kids start to tuition out or school choice out. There's less money for the program, there's less kids, there's less programming. Because there's less programming, less kids stay. It's that death spiral. So you're right about welcoming them and they feel like they're part of us if they come. And I think if you read the Barry Gazette over the past year and a half, any articles about North Brookfield in the schools, but what really struck me was that it was really painful for the decision makers to make those decisions because it's part of their community. Just like when we talked about potentially closing some of our elementary schools, it was painful for the people in those communities to hear that. So you're right. Yeah.
We know all too well, and that's kind of what Colleen said was, you know, this could help us, like maybe their number of students, maybe we don't need to increase staff and we can bring, you know, the staff together and, you know, make it work. And I mean, this could really help us as well. So I think it's an opportunity, and like Colleen said, you know what, it's nice to get our reputation out there and, you know, talk about us.
We have the best school, I believe, in northern Worcester County.
So, like I said, she did a great job. I mean, when I left there, I'm like, I want to go. So.
We'll find a spot for you.
Yeah, I guess I'm looking at the money part, but would this help us get out of hold on?
Well, it's interesting you asked that. So those are some questions that I submitted to Desi. So if our student numbers increase, does that take us out of hold harmless debt? And I think the answer, if they increase by enough.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
So I think it was a similar situation. This task force is interviewing. I think they probably sent this vague email to multiple places, and so fingers
Probably the
crossed.
Quavo.
see what happens, see what they decide, right? So we're ready to welcome them and they'd be Quabbin students. That's,
It will be a process, so we'll keep you informed. And the other thing is, we're going to talk about subcommittees later on, but this may be something that we want that ad hoc subcommittee to, start to meet on if we think it's going to go anywhere. The other things in my report really are just dates, to make you aware. We are less than 2 weeks away from school, more like a week away from school. Did everybody hear that?
That's exactly how I feel.
But we're excited about it. And we had our new staff orientation today. Ally has that in her section of the report, but we welcomed, how many people did we have in the room today? I didn't count.
I thought she said 26, but I don't think there was that many. I think it was maybe about 20.
20-ish.
It was a lovely crowd, though.
Yeah. they were
Super excited
wonderful.
about some of our new staff members, and they're very excited about being here. Some former Quabbin graduates, that's always really fun to hear. But I invited them to come to the September school committee meeting so that you could all meet them. So they'll be here about 6 o'clock. Ally will send them an invitation, so you have the opportunity to meet them. And I just want to let you know that we had to post a elementary position for a grade 5 classroom at Ruggles Lane. We have 2 classrooms. They're 29-30 skating on that edge. And we just felt like we could not go any longer. Even if we split them into 3, there'd be classes of 20 and 19. So we've posted that position and we'll keep you informed. We're working on a learning space for that group of students, and certainly not ideal because Stacy's going to talk about 9C cuts in her part of the presentation, but anyways. So Shelley, you're up next if there's anything you want to highlight.
So the Quabbin district has been very busy over the summer. I say that for all of our departments. But in regards to the curriculum piece, we just finished up our credit recovery over at the high school. So at the high school, we were able to offer 48 courses were taken. 46 of those were successfully completed from our students. At the middle school, we had a much lower enrollment there. We had 9 courses that were taken, and all of those were completed successfully. And then for some of the students that weren't able to attend credit recovery in person, they did take some courses through Ingenuity. So there were 14 of those and 9 of those were completed successfully. So we just finished that up on August 7th. The other thing that we had going on this summer was our STEM camp for grades K to 5 that was held over at Ruggles Lane School. It was a 2-week program. We were able to serve 91 students across the district during those 2 weeks. It was a really nice number. There was a lot of interest in it. There was a lot of interest when we held it a couple of years ago. So parents were really excited to see that come back. The kids were engaged in a lot of different STEM activities and literacy activities throughout the day. They were having fun. It was a lot of learning going on. And when I talked to some of the kids in the program, they really said that they loved those STEM activities and they were allowed to breathe, explore. So that was very successful. So I just want to give a shout out to all of the teachers that took their time to either work through credit recovery or during our STEM camp and give their time to the students of Quabbin. Colleen just mentioned we had our new teacher orientation today. In addition to that particular day, we also have summer professional development for teachers that are within their 3 years of employment. So we have 41 teachers participating in summer PD this summer. Some of those courses started earlier this week. The majority of them will be running next week. And then teachers will receive PDPs for the courses that they attend during that time. So they have to complete 3 days of professional development in the first 3 years. And then in regards to preschool enrollment, just to give you an update on that, the full day program will be at New Braintree this year. And currently we have, I believe, 1 slot open in New Braintree. I know that Laura Holbrook is still continuing to reach out to families and enroll students. She enrolled a couple of new ones today. Hardwick Elementary, we have 5 slots available in the morning class, 11 slots available in the afternoon. Hubbardston, the morning session is full, and in the afternoon, we have 2 slots available, and then at Ruggles Lane, both the morning and the afternoon sessions are full at this time. So I definitely think that a lot of those slots will still get filled up. And then we have options to increase any like days if students need additional days for preschool. So there is some wiggle room around that to fill those slots. Yes.
Credit recovery. What does it mean that a course was not successfully completed?
But they did not pass the course.
They failed to follow up with it.
Great. Kevin, you wanna highlight anything? I know you don't, because you never, but you should.
HVAC project that we've been working on with the USDA grant, which is adding air exchange ventilation to the middle school and adding new air handlers with air conditioning capability in the auditorium is about 80% complete at this point. By the middle of next week or so, we'll have everything in the common areas completed, so the work that we'll be doing will just be behind closed doors. We had completed doing the media center carpet this year by removing everything in the media center, redoing all the walls and having a contractor come in and recarpet the entire area. After we did that and saw how good it looked, we were looking at the auditorium, and the auditorium really was lacking. So we decided I have a couple of people on staff who have experience with doing carpet work, so we actually purchased all the material ourselves and we did the whole auditorium ourselves.
Wow.
So all we had at the cost was obviously material and labor. We painted the hard floors and we did all the carpet ourselves. So the approximate cost savings was about $9,000 as opposed to us doing it with a contract.
Is that something you'll be able to do in classrooms as well, or is that different?
That's kind of what we're leaning towards going forward. I mean, the costs that I'm giving you actually include me paying our staff overtime. So they benefit from it, but even with the overtime, it's not taken up from their daily tasks, but you still realize that cost savings because you're not paying the enormous markup on material or labor. So
that's
what we're
great.
kind of looking that way.
You're getting a good quality work because you know your employees do a good job.
Yeah, you'll be surprised if you see the auditorium. It's as soon as you open the door, it really kind of just pops. Like you didn't see it before. I never noticed the carpet color.
No, I have no idea what color it was. I'm thinking gray, but that's just yes.
Very faded color. We met with the MSBA representatives today in Hardwick to talk about potential roof replacement project. Everything went well with that and things are moving forward. We have some sidewalk repairs that'll be starting in Hubbardston. They're actually starting tomorrow. Originally they said next week, but the contractor called today and we'll be starting tomorrow on that. It will be completed by the middle of next week, so everything will be all set for school opening. The boiler project the town of Hubbardston is doing for the replacement of the boiler in there, all the sections are currently installed. The electrician was just getting material and he'll start running wiring and control wiring, et cetera, next week, so that's on target as well. That's it.
Andrew is on vacation, but you can see his updates. A lot of it is end of the year. What the tech team has really been working on is that we needed to update all staff and student devices to Windows 11, I guess, before October, or they were just going to kind of be defunct or whatever. So staff have been dropping them off each week. Some of them dropped them off at the end of the school year. So we're hoping that we've gotten everybody, so when October comes, nobody has a surprise that, with their device. But we've given a lot of reminders to folks. Stacy?
Okay, so we've actually already had our FY25 audit.
Wow.
We were supposed to have it the 3rd week in August, and then they called at the beginning of July, and we drew a short straw, which means that they actually give you 2 weeks to prepare and then they come in. So it came in the last week of July. There's obviously some stuff wasn't ready because we didn't have July bank statements in July, so there are a few things we have to actually ship them, and we're working with them now to finish it up. But it will take a while because Worcester Regional always takes their time in completing their portion and OPEB, but I mean, there was nothing real glaring that they brought to our attention, but like I said, it's over as far as an on-site audit. They may still have questions coming up. The biggest thing that we had, not a very happy meeting today, it's called Mars Help Desk, Mass Association of Regional Schools. And they kind of told us when the governor signed the budget, she immediately said she wants the authority to make 9C cuts, which means she can cut exactly what she told us she would give us. One of the things mentioned first and foremost is rural school aid. And we didn't really know how much we were getting in rural school aid because normally that's released in October, but they're gonna release it at the end of August. But they're kind of thinking that's gonna be one of the first thing cuts, and they were throwing around the 10% mark of cutting rural school aid. We, in getting this budget to be at a decent level for FY 26, decided to take all of the New Braintree costs and put them to rural school aid, because in conversation, that building really fits a great use of rural school aid. It's supposed to be community-based programming and so forth. So we're a little nervous because we didn't know how much we were getting in the first place, so it was a gamble, and now it looks like it may be cut. Also, if I was understanding it correctly, normally they don't cut chapter 70 for transportation, but she is filing some legislature that she has the authority to also cut chapter 70 in transportation and circuit breaker. So we're not really sure what's going to happen. They're hoping if they make cuts, they're going to be made by December, which will give us a few months to try to get a handle on what we can do to get through the end of the year. They said we can try to reduce our budget. We can try to figure out how to gain more revenue, use more of our E&D, but we were already using $750,000 of E&D to get the budget to be at a decent level. So it wasn't a great meeting. It was a little unnerving being my first year. And then, as Colin said, we had to hire a new position we weren't anticipating due to class size. So I will definitely have budget transfers for you. I'm just doing what, yeah, but I'm not positive. You know, we've had a few savings we've been able to recognize the first few months, but they're not savings that we can continue with. They're just savings we can recognize, maybe get us through FY 26, but they're not savings that I can tell you we can continue on with for many years. So that's my good news.
Thanks. It was a very cautionary meeting. And so they also encouraged all of us to reach out to the legislators and say, please do not touch K-12 education. What is the account, Stacy, that she has some money in? I should have written it down. Fair share.
Yeah.
Fair share tax account. And so what Mars is telling us is to reach out to the legislators and say, please use the fair share for anything that you need to do and leave our budgets alone. What the representatives from Mars said that the governor wants to use the fair share tax for is to bring back some of the research at the universities in Massachusetts. You know, important, but also we got to get these K-12 kids to university, right? So yes, so I anticipate some templates coming out. We'll share them with you so that you can reach out to your legislators, but they said just keep saying it again and again and again so that they're paying attention to it and they're really hearing that it is important to us and we're not okay.
What I was gonna say,
Yep.
putting the $82,000 in the transportation stabilization, we can take that out to offset our transportation costs for FY 26. So we do kind of have that in our back pocket. We were kind of hoping to like peck away at that a couple of years, let it make it last a few years. But it is something that we could, if necessary, we could use it all in one fell swoop, but I'd really hate to do that, so.
Thanks for that cheery update.
So there's just some updates in there from Allison. She'll be at our next meeting with our new staff. about the positions that we do still have open. Jill Langlois is away on vacation. She has updates. I spoke about the two programs, but in the drive, there's a link here for actually seeing some of the program documents for the alternative pathway program. The kids are going to name that program, so we keep calling it alternative pathways, but I will tell you, hopefully in a few weeks, we'll have some sort of great catchy phrase for that. And Mr. Myville added his section to the report that we have 320 prospective fall athletes, which is amazing and great. And that games will already start up the week of Labor Day.
Skipping over the warrant.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Stacy. There I go again.
So the warrants that were signed and processed were the 4 biweekly payroll warrants, 1, 2, 3, and 4. 8 weekly warrants, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And 7 accounts payable warrants, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't know if this is, I didn't say it, but our bi-weekly payroll warrants are now going to be authorized and signed by Walter Nutter versus Dave Dation.
Well, we actually have to take a vote on that, I think, right? Yeah, yeah.
I have something in the chat too.
Oh, okay, great.
Oh, it's from Mrs. Worthington, who says she can't figure out her new computer. She'd like to give a big shout out to George Murray and the custodians at New Braintree Grade School and Oakham Center School for all the hard work this summer. The schools look beautiful.
Thank you, Trish.
Thank you, Trish. And that is true of all of our schools. I mean, they look amazing. And the one thing I want to actually say about the carpet project is when I went to New Braintree today, one of our employees that has the skills, I guess, who's been spearheading some of the carpet work was like, they're so excited and so proud of what they do. Have you seen the auditorium carpet? I'm like, yes, it looks amazing. They want to do more of it because they take such pride in our buildings working in them. And that's just the culture of that department. So we're really thankful for that team. So I agree. Huge shout out. Lots of hard work this summer.
I know that's the first thing we always have to cut in the budget is
Yeah.
the flooring. And I mean, this
So if
is
we can
just
save, right?
Yeah, that's why I was so excited to hear. That's so great.
Yeah. So we'll do the warrant
Okay.
down in the other section.
Okay. We're going all over the place. Meetings all day. All right, let's go to subcommittee reports. I don't think we have too many tonight. Administrative review or audit. Let's see if they do us on that. Budget, Mark, do you have an update?
We have it, Stacy, gave a little bit of an update, it didn't look too good, but,
Let's not
yes
talk
or
about
no?
Yes. We haven't heard otherwise. So when we went to town meeting and what we were told was that we would reduce possibly some of his time that he's able to spend in our schools. The 2.5 override was to pay for an additional officer, which means that they may need more of Officer Sawyer's time. So we don't know what that looks like yet. I will reach out to Chief Saborin and see if he has any idea on that, but I have a feeling it's going to be dependent upon what crops up, to be honest with you. I think it's going to be, if he needs to be called to a situation, then Mark's the one who's called to that situation.
So, yeah, because Mark, they'll Monday, what are we talking about, dollar amounts here, 60, 70,000?
I don't know what his full salary would be, but I would guess it's probably upwards of 60.
Other situation.
Right.
Yeah. Could work on hours or something.
Yeah. Keep you
I agree with
informed.
Mark. I think this was a very positive thing
Mhm.
to have them in the school, interacting with the kids, being there, being a reasonable human being that they get to see and talk to and befriend and so forth.
Just to add, the problem was, that I was at the budget meeting where Officer or Sergeant Brown brought this up. And not only the SRO was a possible cut, but because they were down an officer, they were gonna be down an officer in Barry. They got this dilemma, do they put one policeman on from 11 to 7, which is dangerous? Or do we not have coverage in Barry from 11 to 7? So I'm not, that's all the things.
We've gone through that in Hubbardston.
Yeah.
We only have one at 2, from 2 AM, 7 AM, there's only one.
And that's not
That's the way it's always been.
That's not safe for the police officers.
No, it's not.
You're gonna combine the towns.
Well, that's what mutual aid's for. They usually won't respond until mutual aid arrive, and that delays your response time now because you're waiting for an officer who may be the only one on in another town.
The state police.
So then you're waiting on state police. Yeah. We've had no coverage at night for a while too. We've gone through that. It's tough. I mean, and the salaries are, I mean, I hate to say it, we can't afford the salary and neither can they, you know, it's hard.
The Barry Police were doing a coffee with the officer at the senior center once a month. And in the middle of the last presentation, it's from like 9 to whenever, and they've got donuts and whatever, and it's really nice. Because there's a half dozen people that come and in the middle of it all, Saborn had called to tell the director of the wellness center that was the last one. They just couldn't afford to, they needed that officer.
Elsewhere.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
He's now the assistant to the select board.
8 hours a week. That's 8 hours a week, yeah, they appointed him.
Yeah, along these lines, I have concern because there's such bad feelings. Where does Barry have money? Nowhere. Who are they gonna come after? Who has money? We do. In their eyes.
It's their money. They're just getting, you know,
Well,
it's just a different reason. I mean,
of course,
you
but
know,
I think
Yep.
that can be a basis of bad feelings.
I know it isn't, yeah. That's-
Doral, your guy came in here and he was gonna have to fire himself, what, 3, 4, 5 years in a row? Quote unquote.
Mhm.
Oh.
Anyway, moving on. Any more? Anyone else? No. Central office, I don't think they have anything. Collective bargaining, no. Building grounds and safety. Policy review, October. Student services has not met. Technology. And ad hoc school configuration has not met either. We have no unfinished business. Do we have any public comment tonight? No. Okay. We'll move on, school committee concerns.
I actually have something.
Okay.
And, so I went to, back in, on June 17th, civics projects, I went to visit that thing. So they had all kinds of topics covered, tech security, dirt bike trails, Felton Field repairs, paint problem, which is, I guess, women's clothes cost more than men's clothes. They call it the paint problem, I'd never heard of it. Domestic violence, homelessness, immigration, ocean garbage patch, recycling. And the one that I was interested in, kind of curious about, was school lunchtime. So this young man was explaining to me that he doesn't have enough time for lunch. He said they have half an hour. I don't know if that's right. And he says he spends half of that time in line and kids are cutting in front of him. So he can't get his food. So he only has a few minutes to eat. So I don't know what the facts are, but that's what this kid said. So I don't know if it's something worth looking into or not, but.
It definitely is. So they do have a half hour to eat, but that is bell to bell. So, you know, there's minimal time for transition for them to get down there. I think Olivia's done an amazing job of trying to set up more stations so that the kids can spread out a little bit more. whether there's an opportunity to stagger those lunches or do a fourth lunch. We talked about adding a fourth lunch in this year. And then they just, between food and nutrition and administration, they felt like the 3 lunches were sufficient. So I guess, Abby, this will be one of the things that we ask you to pay close attention to when you start. But I do think there are ways to stagger it so that kids sort of enter that line at different times and they're not kind of held up. I think on most days, it's when it's like the favorite food and that one line ends up being a little,
I'm not familiar. with that.
but yeah. Yeah.
Excited to see it actually.
Yeah.
Sometimes it comes down to in cafeterias too, like the meal they're serving. Some
Yes.
meals are quicker for them to serve than others. I don't know, I haven't seen it yet, but we're gonna take a look at it.
Yeah, and it could be on bowl days where the kids get to choose what goes in that bowl
Yeah.
and it just
Yeah.
takes a little longer, but typically they'll do at least 2 stations of that to try and get it through. But I do think it's something we absolutely do need to look at. There is limited time for sure. For sure. Yes.
Anyone else have anything?
And we serve such good food, we want them to eat it.
All right, we'll go to the remainder of our new business. Next, we have the superintendent MUHA evaluation process. So Jess had emailed us all the criteria, evaluation, and all the backup documentation, actually in a nice slideshow, very easy for us to review. Are we gonna complete it tonight like we did?
That would be great. For those of you who are here, you can complete it on paper or you can complete it on the Google form. But what I thought I would do is sort of the same thing I did last year, which is bring you through my slide deck. So this is what I would consider to be the collection of evidence. I gave you the entry plan, so that was something new that I did this year based on this being my first real year as a superintendent. And so I wanted to show you how my entry plan, the district goals, all aligned along with the standards. So I think the best way to do it is for me to just kind of walk you through it. And then if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer those. So by now, hopefully these goal statements are familiar to you because I try and keep them in our director's report. But my first goal has been around communication. So what I did for the evidence is I broke it up into 3 parts, thinking about our municipalities and working with our towns, thinking about our students and staff and our parents. I think I have 3 different ones. So new this year, we added those 4 municipal meetings. The evidence I have in there is just an agenda from those meetings. We also, yes,
We got our budget through,
we did.
all the towns. I think that is the beginning and the end of the evidence review.
Stacy and I might disagree on that. Some of them were a little more challenging than
Oh, I didn't
others.
say it wasn't
but-
easy.
Yeah, no.
But that's the goal.
Mission accomplished.
Yes, it is. It really is. So thank you for that. We've been having our ongoing regional agreement meetings. We're actually all wrapped up. We're just waiting for our final feedback from Desi. I think anyone else who's on that team, if you want to speak about that, but I think the process started a little bit slow, but we were able to really kind of come together and tie it up. We did a lot of advocacy this year, so I thank you all for that. I just have those as pieces of evidence. Also, budget meetings. Some of the budget meetings you don't see are budget meetings that I have with staff and families. And so one of my goals on the entry plan was this idea of building presence. So I just sort of added that in because it aligns with this goal and the strategic plan objective 1. And standard 3 around communication, family engagement. Could even align with management and operations. And there you all are at our visit to UMass together. That was super fun. And so same goal, but this time talking about staff and students. So you heard me talk a lot last year. I'm really going to miss my senior intern. So I'm hoping for another one of those. Everyone should get one. We ran senior focus groups. I had a goal of really knowing all of our seniors, their interests by name when they walked across that graduation stage. We did our staff feedback surveys. I had a goal of visiting schools twice a week. I will tell you, I probably got into twice a week, 2 schools. I think when I initially thought of that goal, it was like, maybe I thought I'd be in all schools, or I don't know. But anyways, I have some work to do to get better on that. We had some on-site visits. I went around to the buildings. This is one of the best things that I feel like I do for budgeting purposes. I open it up, I make myself available. I visit every school and I say to the staff, if you have any ideas for efficiencies, for, anything, please come see me. Every school I go to, someone comes, they show up and they have amazing ideas. So that's something I'll absolutely continue. We invited Commissioner Johnston in last year and he came. We were super excited about that. We were able to showcase a lot of the work that the middle school's been doing on intervention and co-teaching. I just included in there for you some of the budget slide decks and some evidence of all the events that I try to attend. And then the last one is around parents and families. We have been working on having increased opportunities for parents to connect on our campuses. So last year we increased our open house for the first time in a long time to include the high school. We did some parent feedback. I offered some focus groups and some coffee hours. I always do the district-wide newsletter. We opened the community closet at New Braintree School. We had CPAC events, welcome to kindergarten nights, meet and greets with me, and then I attended as many of the end of year events as I possibly could.
Well, that letter to the Barry Gazette, I thought was very good. That was a good move.
Thank you. Thanks. We have one coming out next week because we have a new principal that we need to introduce. So look for that in the newspaper.
No photo.
No promises.
I think you signed something about that.
Yeah.
There'll be lots of pictures. We like them.
So then moving on, any questions on goal number 1? So goal number 2 was around developing programming and equitable opportunities and practices. I broke this goal down into a process that we use that's called plan, study, act, and do. So in the plan and study phase, you typically try and gather a lot of data. And so those are the ways that we gathered data this year. We do calibration walkthroughs with our administrators. We had a wonderful partnership with Mass Ready. You heard me talk about that. It's focused on equity. I had a personal coach, or he worked with our admin team. We did a lot of what he likes to call experiments with our middle school programming and interventions. We ran those. We did focus groups with our students. We reviewed and analyzed our attendance data and our student performance data during our summit meetings. I shared that here at school committee. We also consistently run data meetings in grades kindergarten through 8. And that's all the data and evidence that we use to collect to think about what are we going to do to develop programming and equitable opportunities. And so some of the things that we implemented this year to address our findings were to reduce chronic absenteeism. If you remember, we held some Saturday sessions. We did our credit recovery sessions, and we had a social worker that made a huge impact for us that was reaching out on a more frequent basis to our families and connecting families with resources. We wanted to increase our expected student behavior. So therefore, the elementary schools implemented PBIS in a very robust fashion, got the teachers on board in a very exciting way. The kids love everything about it. And we're continually working on our restorative practices at the middle high school. And we also are working and will continue to work to decrease our academic failures. Those Saturday sessions were also geared towards that, along with the credit recovery. We added back on track this year to middle school and high school, our intervention model, and some co-teaching. And I literally have to say to myself, was that last year or 2 years ago? Because that's how far it feels back, but it was just last year. And so these are some of the things that we shared at school committee, and I think we're all rather excited about, but we had the implementation of, for the first time ever, an integrated emergency management class for our kids. We had, 30 students, I think, participate. It was amazing. We worked really hard in the spring, or our coaches, I want to say who did the work. Our coaches worked really hard at aligning our IB and AP standards so that we would not split students and have as many small classes, but where kids could funnel into one class and take it year one and be able to move on to year two to be able to take the tests and assessments for both IB and AP and/or. We also ran our curriculum review process and selection. We're implementing this year Open SciEd at expanded grade levels, as well as investigating history. We expanded our co-teaching. We offered staff wellness. So this is not just about students, but about our staff. We have a wellness committee that offered walking, Shelley-led salsa dancing. I did line dancing. And so I will plant a little seed. But Deb hooked me up with,
I forgot to ask you about.
yeah, I'm going to tell you about it.
Could join.
With this
Actually,
gym
with
in
you.
Gardner, because last year they offered a wellness challenge to the schools of Gardner and Narragansett. And I heard about it and I'm like, how come Quabbin is not a part of that? So I went and I met with this very energetic, wonderful Matt
That's awesome.
Callie. The facility is amazing, amazing. I wish I lived closer. And so we're going to bring Quabbin into that wellness challenge sometime around between January and March. And basically they do some nutrition coaching and different things like that. So, and it's sort of a challenge between schools, like if you complete drinking your water and doing, whatever type of thing, there's like an app that you can use. So we'll see.
I will share one thing.
Yes.
I occasionally run into Dr. Marshall.
Oh, yes, she does go there. I heard that. Yeah, yeah, awesome.
Yes, well, you said Gardner and Narragansett, and why not Quabbin?
Right.
They need it one hell of a lot more than this district does, both of them. But could you include us?
Yes, yeah. I hope our staff is as excited.
Why don't you include school committee?
Well, I'd love to include school
I
committee.
was-
Thank you.
That's what I
for
was
the
gonna ask.
suggestion. Yes, is that what it's, yes,
Yeah.
fitness concept, 626 or something.
696.
Oh, there were a couple different names. I wasn't sure what we go by. We, for the first time in a long time, offered professional learning communities. We offered a lot of staff choice in that so that they could kind of work on what they felt was most pertinent to them. And then we also implemented some new curriculum with Wayfinder and MyCap. Our guidance has been working on that so that we're really supporting students' post-secondary education goals. That's aligned with our strategic plan objective 3 and standard 1. So then I'll go into the standards. So you evaluate me on both my goals and the standards. So standard 1 is around instructional leadership, and that is promoting the growth and learning of all students and staff with a shared vision. Powerful teaching is the central focus of what we do. I included for you my opening day slide deck, maybe one of the slide decks that I've done with staff. And then I just highlighted, a lot of this is a repeat because it was part of my goals. So if I provided evidence earlier, I didn't necessarily link the same evidence there. You know that we've been working on this idea of belonging and culturally and linguistic teaching practices so that we're addressing the needs of all the students. That was something we continued for last year. You can ask questions anytime. Standard 2 is around management and operations. And that has the wrong, oh yeah, okay, sorry. No, it doesn't. But that is a safe, efficient, effective school environment using our resources wisely for staffing and scheduling. So when you think of budgeting, that's where this falls. When you think of school safety, that's where this falls. When you think of academic opportunities, that's where it falls. So basically, are we running an efficient school district? And so I have included in there the things that I've worked on to do that. We have these district-wide safety meetings bi-monthly. This year, we implemented a mock car crash that just sort of, I think, added another level of awareness for our students. We increased our academic supports. We've implemented our permanent building subs. We've done that for a couple different reasons. It actually ends up being a cost savings for us versus having teachers cover classrooms. And it is a more stable coverage for our teachers and staff. We have our new staff orientation and mentoring. We've worked on revising our time on learning for our elementary schools, and that is just based on our programs and the amount of time that students need to be successful using those programs. We continue to work with MASS on updating all of our policies. We bring Attorney Matt McAvoy in every year. He just met with us. Was it just last week? Wi-Fi went down, but it is an intense day. We meet with him for 4 hours, but he goes over all the changes in laws and regulations and case studies. And it's a lot, but it's really, really important, I feel, for us, for me personally, to just stay on top of that. And then just the district budget process that we've sort of been working off of the past couple of years. Standard 3 is that family and community engagement. And again, that building presence. So there's a lot of the same things in there. The only things that I'll highlight that maybe are different is that we do have a handle with care partnership with our law enforcement. What that is if any of our police departments go to a home because there's been some sort of incident, they may reach out to the school and email and just say, you may want to handle Johnny with care today. No other information is shared. We just know that the student might need a little extra TLC because something, maybe they were up late or any of those things. And so just the community closet, our holiday gift drives, all of those things. And standard 4 is really this idea of a professional reflective practice, high expectations, and continuous learning. So one thing that I'm really passionate about is not starting something one year and just letting it go. So even next week, when I have the pleasure of meeting with our teachers and staff, my message continues from year to year. And I think of it as sort of peeling the onion back a little bit. I'm a person who needs to hear the same thing multiple times because I feel like every time I do, I learn more deeply. And that's been my approach with the staff. So when you're like, Colleen, it's year 3, how come you're still talking about culturally and linguistically teaching and learning? Because it's important and we're not there yet and it's hard. So we had our shared priorities again last year. That's something we always do with our staff so they can build their goals around them. I try to message in my district-wide newsletters something that's important. Last year, I shared the book about the anxious generation. So working to just keep the idea of education and what's good for kids at the forefront of everything we do. And I think, Stacy, there we go. Yes, so what evidence do we have that this work is making a difference? We are starting to see stronger outcomes for our middle school students, which is huge. Our K-5 literacy data on our DIBELS assessment, especially in our classrooms, K-2, has grown tremendously. Our course failure rates, we keep working on them. They were a little decreased from last year. That's something we have to continue. Our student surveys, our culture surveys, we've shared those with you throughout the year. Again, I appreciate what you said, Dr. Allen, about getting the vote passed. I actually put on here, I thought evidence was that at 4 out of the 5 towns, we had very few questions and a lot of praise. And just the budget planning really, I don't think there were any surprises at the annual town meeting that people didn't understand our budget or had questions about what we were doing. And I take that as hopefully positive
Definitely.
evidence. And so, as I go through this process, I always think about what can I do better and differently. And so, I really think communication can never be strong enough or timely enough. That's something that I always think about. So for the upcoming school year, we're going to implement, I always meet sort of with our cabinet, which is like our district administrators, and then we meet with our school-based administrators. This year, we're going to try a joint meeting on a more regular basis. I think we have 7 of them scheduled, just because sometimes we talk separate of each other, and it would just be more efficient for us to talk together so that everybody knows what's happening. If there's a breakdown in communication, honestly, it's usually on my end because I haven't spoken to this person and that person and this person, and I'm hoping that this helps me get better with that. More in-person communication with families. I have a parent group that's going to be my parent focus group this year. I have about 5 people already signed up. So we'll be doing that. Increasing our school visits in support of our administrators. We've already scheduled time together, just looking at that, what's happening in that classroom on a regular basis and constantly keeping that at the forefront of what we do. Really looking at our courses, our class sizes, thinking about course offerings, and if we are being as efficient as we possibly can. We already have some ideas after working on the AP-IB alignment for things that we can do. We kind of actually have a start of a year 2 plan to be able to have some more efficiency within our course offerings at the high school level. One thing that is really a goal that I want to achieve is this idea of how do we make what's happening in our classrooms more visible to other people? So how do teachers know what's happening in the classroom down the hall or at the elementary level? So I really want to work on opportunities for teachers to visit one another's classrooms or to showcase student growth in some way that feels motivating and inspiring and celebratory for our teachers.
And to the community. We do such good things. I was going to mention when you talk about evidence, DECA.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
What a great program that is. You listen to these kids and what they're talking about and what they're doing. And Luke Salvador is still contacting me and talking to me and asking questions, and Trudy and so on. And I know he came and talked to you. We talked to Maureen. But that's a great program. But getting this out, the community doesn't know the really good things. And your little newsletter to the Barry Gazette, great move. When we had Teresa, actually Luke's one of the nice thing about it, Teresa, when she was doing that full page, those were really good. But we need teacher to teacher, yes, absolutely, great move, very important. But out to the community, they need to see, they need to be able to touch and feel and so forth. The kinds of things that we're doing, and not just, well, a football team, whatever, or the basketball, or whatever.
I'm going to revise that in my goal and make sure I add the community to that. That's really great feedback. And I agree with you. We need to do that much, much more. And then the last thing, it's sort of a very vague bullet. But I'm so proud of what Quabbin does. And I really feel like we've got a great handle in some areas. I feel like we're doing a really great job for students who are seeking, post-secondary education. And one of the places where I feel like Innovation Pathways is starting to fill that gap a little bit is this idea of real world learning and possibilities of vocational opportunities. So if you've been following some of the legislative moves, they've put a lot of funding towards vocational education. And part of that is because there's just not enough slots at tech schools for our kids. So they're talking about building annexes and having some collaborations, but they're also encouraging schools to become more of a comprehensive school. So that is something that I want to continue to explore and think about. And as Stacy said, we've really dedicated our rural school aid money to some of the programming over at New Braintree. I think building some sort of vocational opportunity or real world learning for our kids is a really good use of our rural school aid. So that's something that I'm going to continue to pursue. I mentioned this to North Brookfield last night that, you know, if we did nothing else, you know, 5 communities could get together and run a crop management program or something. And I really believe in that work and feel like there is a need for our students that we're not fully serving. So that's my reflection. I'll narrow all that down when I submit my goals for you for next year. But do you have any questions about anything or feedback? You can obviously do it anonymously, put it in there, but I also, I welcome feedback all the time.
Yeah, just to comment, this comprehensive. We all remember Jimmy Carter. I forget the name of the governor that followed him. But the state of Georgia asked me to do a study on should they continue building comprehensive high schools. And it was so interesting because when we went to see them, they thought they were doing a great job, but the guy down the street was really lousy. And sort of the upshot of it, they continued, you know, my recommendation was, yeah. When I went to visit with the governor, wanted to talk to me about this. Go into his office. There's a big picture of Rosalind Carter in his office. No Jimmy. I don't know whether he was off in Washington, D.C. He was sort of, I don't know, but anyway. Going back to some more comprehensive, I think is a good idea. I was on the committee when we did it because we had woodworking and maybe metalworking and one or two other. Dick Newell used to be involved in that sort of stuff. But I think getting back to some of that is a great idea. Although we're doing it in a very different way. This outreach up to Sterretts. Do we have any kids doing that, by the way?
Not right now, we don't, but we do have them enrolled in our precision measurement class for this upcoming year.
Okay, so that and the place down there in Spencer.
FlexCon.
FlexCon, and so it's in a different guise.
Mm-hmm. It definitely is. You know, I think that part of the factor is that families are having to think differently with the cost of post-secondary education. And so I think that our students are thinking differently too. We had one student who graduated. I don't know how many of you attended the class awards night, but we handed out more certifications this year than we've ever handed out before. But we had one student who was a graduating senior and he got an OSHA certification. And so he's going into construction. So he walked in the door and he's like, I already have my OSHA certification. And they were like, wow, you got that on your own? And, you know, those are the little things that can make a difference for kids. He is a kid who knows what he wants to do. He wants to run, what do you call it? Equipment. I feel like heavy equipment. That's what he wants to do. That's exactly what he wants to do. And he wants to make money. So he doesn't want to spend his time, you know, kind of like doing anything else. He wants to get right in there. And so he's had the opportunity to join a company and that's what we hope for all of our kids. So.
All right, so just you have the forms or no?
Well, I thought you were able to do it online, but I do have some.
So if anyone wants to do it tonight.
It's easy online.
Yeah.
Very easy.
But I do have,
Yeah.
I can,
So if you want a paper copy after. Yes.
It's just that rather short evaluation.
Mhm. So it's
I saw it online.
It's by, it's just as I presented in my slide deck. If you wanted to compare one to the other, you actually could, because they're,
And there's one place for comments.
Yeah.
Yes.
if I did my job, they're aligned.
yeah. I have a couple paper copies if somebody.
I got it online.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Get it to you.
Thank you.
Since the bid
Okay.
on.
Oh, it does, oh.
Next
I've
item
had issues.
is discussion of subcommittees. So we can do it after.
Oh, okay.
Before I get too late here. We've had a lot tonight. I can move this along, right? So anyway, discussion of subcommittees. So we've been talking a little bit about some of the subcommittees. Technology really has usually Dave. And we've had trouble kind of getting people to join that. So it kind of feels like maybe if we could combine that with Building Grounds and Safety Committee, that might make sense to get more people involved in the subcommittee and does that?
My committee's not voted. Yeah.
No, but I mean, all of
Yeah,
our
it's-
subcommittees are smaller and that's, I mean, what they're supposed to be, but a subcommittee of one, it's not, it's kind of hard to get a lot done. So any discussion or comments or?
That makes good sense.
That makes good sense. Can we vote on all these together? Or?
Yes.
We can.
I think so. Okay. So we had also thought that the ad hoc school configuration subcommittee, we could disband that. That really hadn't met or had a purpose. We kind of did some follow-up work for a long time. Lee kind of thought, there's really no more. The only thought being now we may have this opportunity.
There's no more, there's North Brookfield.
Right, so, I mean, that's a discussion, do we leave it for now, or, if something comes up with North Brookfield, if it's a tuition thing, we may not need a committee for that,
Disband.
that would be an agreement, so, and we can always form another task force or something but it seems like that was set up, to see how we could maneuver the
The
buildings
Collins stuff.
and then we did the sixth grade studies and we've toured all the buildings. We've followed up for a long time and there really hasn't been any more work. So any discussion or comments? Okay. And then the last one is the warrant subcommittee. It's been recommended that we have more than one person for that. So Walter has graciously agreed, but we, are
He's a
open
gracious
to.
kind of fellow.
He is a gracious fellow, to be a backup or second person available, it's hard to have, I mean, Dave leaves the country and goes off to Canada
I
sometimes.
signed him in Rusicide next week, I'll be signing him in Rusicide, Montreal.
So,
Just
Yeah, go ahead.
as a way of explanation, the chairman had requested I get an ethics finding from the ethics commission. Because of there's a clause in the administrator's agreement with Colleen that is connected with the COLAs that the teachers get. So I'm on the negotiating committee, so he wanted me to find out if I was in conflict of interest. So I did. I read, and it's amazing, an 8-page legal finding. Bottom line is I do have a conflict of interest, so I cannot participate in any way, shape or form with the teachers negotiation. And secondarily, any warrants that include my daughter Emily's salary in, even though it's embedded in a $1.2 million biweekly payroll that Walter will sign. You can't go in and I can't fudge anybody's numbers. It is what it is. So that's more of the appearance of. So just we wanted to keep it all clean. So Walter will be signing the payroll, the biweekly payroll warrants.
okay,
And I can continue to sign everything else. And it's not a hassle. Like I said, I can do it in Canada, I can do it on the Long Island, I can do it in New York City.
no, I know, it's
Yeah,
just
so-
good to always have
Yeah.
a backup,
Yeah.
right?
But
So,
I wanted to keep
okay,
it,
so it's a separation of duties, really,
Really,
that
it
is
is.
really
And
what
it's to
you're
keep it all
doing, so it'll keep it cleaner and.
Okay, I move these three things here.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second,
Does that include disbanding the ad hoc committee or?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, it does, okay.
Would you like to remove that or talk about it?
Well, I thought we were gonna use it for, we might use it for North Brookfield.
We can always reconvene something if we
Okay.
need to.
I'm okay with that.
If it's just a tuition agreement, you may not need a whole subcommittee, so we're not sure what they're,
Yeah, it's not
you
like
know,
we're
it
gonna
was
go
just a
down.
preliminary meeting.
No. Alright,
All right. Any other further comments? Okay,
Oh, we-
roll call, Joss?
We don't need to
Do we
do
need
roll call,
roll call?
no. It's
No.
just not,
All in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Now we can move along.
We'll be adjourned.
No, we got one more thing.
We got it.
I have one, this is what broke me did, he left me a big list. So, all right, so we need to talk about the MASS November conference that we attend for our professional development.
Mhm.
As the budgets have been cut, our budget was also cut. So what,
And the costs went up
and the costs
tremendously,
are
just so you know,
tremendous.
tremendously.
So.
200 a person. Right? Yeah, crazy.
So they have also changed it. It starts early on Wednesday now at 10:30. There's a free lunch on Wednesdays. And it goes until, is it dinner?
Mhm.
Friday. So it's 3 full days now. So I guess
Maybe
that's how
that's
they're
why they increased
justifying
it,
the
yeah.
increased cost. So with these budget cuts, what the district can now afford to make it equitable amongst the members here would be paying for the conference fees for 5 of us to attend. And the keynote dinner, which is the first night on Wednesday night, the keynote speaker. The school committee members that would like to attend the conference would then be responsible for their own hotels and the other meals. There is usually the continental breakfast, but the meals were ridiculously expensive as well. So, you know, we all kind of have to take a hit here. Everybody has taken a hit. So this is the discussion on the conference attendance. And we thought that it might be possible for us to attend like one day and drive home. Apparently it is not. And it's saying that they're saying now all sessions must be attended. So they want your attendance at all of them. So they have changed it as well. So with their prices going up and our budget going down, that's kind of the update on the conference. Any discussion on?
And then I think the early bird price is only good till September 5th, and then that cost goes up from there. So if you want to attend, we really kind of need to know. Dr. Allen, Dave.
Oh, yeah, I'd like to go, but if somebody that hasn't been, wants to go,
I don't
I'd
think
be
I'll
happy
be
to
able to
give
go
them
this year.
my spot.
You gonna go?
I don't think I can this year. Work is just.
I assume Mark's going.
Claire?
Brookfield.
Dave, are you guys interested?
That's a good one.
If you could check with the other members, send an email to those not in attendance tonight.
Move we
All
adjourn.
right.
We do the minutes?
Well,
if
We
you
have
have a
minutes to approve?
that was in the consent
Consent,
agenda.
yeah.
We do that now. We just call the consent agenda and whatever is listed, we can put a hold on it, but we approved that in the beginning. We jumped around a bit.
Yeah.
you've got to count, or you too bad, because you kept us. A lot of us were gonna run out Friday morning, and she made us stay. She put on guilt and said, the district paid for you to participate in this.
Well, you know what else? I
She can
thought
still
about it.
say
Say
that.
that. I'll send you, give me a phone number. I'll text you in the morning.
About 9:30 on Friday morning,
Yeah,
to
yeah,
stay.
you're staying, well, now you have to stay through dinner Friday, till
No.
dinner.
What do you mean you have?
Well, the
Well,
days,
they-
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what they're saying, the 3
I
days now.
usually leave it after
And
lunch.
attend the
Right.
session.
Yeah,
You get the lunch.
I have a question for Jess then. How are we gonna do the reservations for the hotel? Is it gonna be up to ourselves or? just
No,
a
you,
thought?
you can make the reservations. We'll pay for them.
Well, I don't know if we can do it that way.
I can't give you the credit card. to
No,
put it on.
we can't put it on a credit card.
I can put it on my credit card,
You could put it on your credit card.
but I would like you to make it.
Oh, you want me to make, so you're gonna give me your credit cards?
Yeah.
That's a dangerous thing.
Yeah,
I have any granddaughters shop.
I was just gonna, that's exactly what
I was thinking of shoes.
Well, that too.
We'll go with that.
Right,
Any other questions or?
so I can do that. Once I figure out who's going.
Is it less expensive for you to make them than it is for us to make them ourselves?
No,
No, you just tell them that you're a conference attendee and they'll give
I mean,
you,
you'd be better
Yeah,
off to,
We're all at a different hotel,
No, we were all together.
at a different hotel.
We've all been at different ones.
you're not at a hotel that, well, I haven't even looked at what the hotels are this year. the
Emerald
conference.
Isle, which is where it's held, their nightly rate is like 119, which is probably the most affordable.
Probably.
And then I think as you go out, if you still tell them you're gonna attend the conference, most of them will give you a discount because last year, we had 1,000 people there. It was a lot of people.
What was it, Comfort Inn? Is that the one?
I think we stayed
It's
at a
a-
Holiday Inn.
No, it's not Holiday.
Fairfield.
Fairfield, yeah.
That's where
By
we
the
are.
mall. Old mall. Yeah, where the mall was. All right, any other questions?
Will we adjourn?
Thank you.